David Cooper adjusted the strap of his travel bag as he hurried through the busy international airport. His 10-year-old daughter, Lily, walked beside him, holding a small envelope tied with a blue ribbon. "Dad," Lily asked, "do you think we'll make it?" David looked at the departure board. "I hope so." The journey mattered more than either of them could explain. They were traveling to a quiet coastal town where Lily's late mother had grown up. Before she passed away, she had written a final letter for her own father and asked David to deliver it in person when Lily was old enough to understand its meaning. After years of healing, that day had finally arrived, but the airport was unfamiliar and construction had closed several walkways. David looked around before politely approaching a woman standing near an information display. "Excuse me," he said, "could you tell me the quickest way to gate 28? The woman lowered her phone and smiled. "Of course." She pointed toward another terminal. "Take the airport train, then the elevator on the second level." Lily thanked her with a cheerful smile. As David adjusted his bag, the blue envelope slipped into view. The woman noticed the handwritten words on the front. "For Grandpa, with all my love." She looked at Lily. "Are you visiting your grandfather?" Lily nodded. "It's my mom's last letter. We've never met him." The woman became quiet. "Your first meeting?" David nodded. "My wife lost contact with her father years ago. Before she passed away, she hoped one day he would know how much she still loved him." The woman's eyes softened. "I'm sorry." David smiled gently. "Thank you." Just then, an airport announcement echoed through the terminal. "Final boarding for Flight 615 to New York." The woman glanced at the display. That was her flight. Her assistant hurried over. "Miss Hayes, they're waiting." Lily looked up. "You have a plane too?" The woman smiled. "I do." She paused for a moment before asking David, "How much time do you have before boarding?" "About 30 minutes. She looked toward her assistant. "Please rebook my flight." The assistant blinked. "Your meeting begins this afternoon." "I know, but this is more important." David looked surprised. "You don't need to do that." She smiled. "I'd like to. My name is Elizabeth Hayes. I run Hayes Global." David recognized the company, but simply nodded. "It's nice to meet you." Elizabeth laughed quietly. "You didn't recognize my name until I mentioned the company. I'm more interested in meeting people than titles." She smiled warmly. "That's refreshing." Elizabeth personally walked David and Lily through the fastest route to the correct terminal. Along the way, she introduced them to airport staff, helping them avoid long queues created by the construction work. When they reached the departure gate, Lily hugged her unexpectedly. "Thank you," Elizabeth smiled. "I hope your grandfather treasures that letter." Several hours later, after taking a later flight herself, Elizabeth couldn't stop thinking about the little girl carrying the blue envelope. A week passed, then another. One morning, her office received a handwritten package. Inside was a framed photograph. It showed an elderly man embracing David and Lily outside a small seaside cottage. Tucked behind the frame was another note. "Thank you for helping us arrive in time." He read his daughter's letter with tears in his eyes. It brought peace to a family that had waited many years for this moment. "We will never forget your kindness, David and Lily." Elizabeth quietly placed the photograph on her desk. Months later, Hayes Global launched a new employee initiative called Moments That Matter. The program encouraged every employee to help people facing meaningful family moments, even when it required extra effort. During the company's annual gathering, someone asked Elizabeth what had inspired the idea. She smiled. "A father once asked me for directions." The audience laughed softly. She continued, "I almost gave him directions and walked away. Instead, I learned where he was going. And I realized that schedules can often wait, but some moments never return." Meanwhile, David and Lily often visited Lily's grandfather. Together, they planted flowers in memory of Lily's mother and read her favorite books on the cottage porch every summer. One afternoon, Lily asked, "Dad, if that lady hadn't helped us." David smiled gently. "We might still have reached Grandpa, but she made the journey easier." And sometimes, he looked toward the blooming garden. The greatest gift someone can give isn't money or influence. It's choosing to pause their own plans so they can help someone else's story reach a happy beginning. Far away, Elizabeth looked once more at the photograph on her office shelf. It reminded her every day that success is measured not only by the meetings we attend or the businesses we build, but also by the kindness we show when a stranger simply asks for directions. Because sometimes the shortest path to changing a life begins with stopping long enough to care. Story end.